Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel APM Guide. As a part of our APM server line command argument series, in this video we'll discuss about the importance of APM config file. Okay, so we'll see what is the importance of APM config file and what are the supported config file formats and supported config file locations and how to implement this in our framework. Okay, so these all 4 points we are going to discuss in this video. Okay, the first point, that is importance of apm config file with two scenarios we'll see. Okay, so before explaining the importance of this file, so I will show you two scenarios, then we can conclude why it is so important for us to use this config file. Okay, the first scenario, okay, run the apm server with set of arguments without using config file. Okay, see, I have an example here, so I'll open this file. Okay, if you see, I want to run the apm server, okay, with set of these properties, that is address. Okay, that is the argument. I had given the address and the value and the port and allow insecure, and I had provided the value here, and deny insecure and the corresponding value, and I had to use the plugin called gesture, and the flag I had to use, argument I had to use the local time zone and log timestamp and session override. Okay, keep alive timeout. Okay, these all arguments I need to add for the apm server. Means I need to start the apm server with all these arguments here. So normally if we not use this config file, how we can able to run it? So I had to open the command prompt and I had to provide this command here. Okay, so just copy here, I'll run this command here. Okay, by providing these all arguments, I am running the apm server here. Okay, what is it? Keep alive timeout. Keep alive timeout. Okay, I have given the value here. Okay, I say 600. So I started the apm server with all these arguments here. Okay, suppose what happened if I had to give manually like this. Okay, suppose I want some more arguments I need to give. Okay, so I had to add these arguments in our command line here, and in some cases I need to change. When I'm running the test cases, I want to change the different arguments. Okay, I not want to come back to my command prompt and change the arguments like this. Okay, and it is a tedious process also, and it is not a good programming practice. Okay, so to overcome this one, to overcome starting the apm server and providing all these arguments manually, so what we will do, we will configure all these arguments in a file. That file is known as the apm config file. Okay, so in this case, when I run this apm server with this one, you can see here the address. So it has provided here, address I have provided is okay 2127.0.1. okay, and allow insecure adb underscore cell. So whatever the arguments I have given, based upon this argument my apm server is started. Okay, and by using this one, okay, I need to provide manually for each and every run. Okay, and this is not a good practice here. So we will see how we can able to overcome this drawback by using the apm config file. Okay, so what I will do, I just close the apm server here, control C. Okay, now I have created a config file here. Okay, so next one is the by running the apm server with set of arguments using config file. Okay, so here we have to note, important note here is that please note that CLI's argument have preceding over configuration file. If a value is set in the config file and via CLI argument, the CLI argument is preferred. So what happens? Okay, so when we create a config file, we provide the set of arguments here. Okay, and suppose I given that address as 127.0.1. Okay, and the same argument I have provided in the command prompt also with including configuration file. Then the Appium server gives more importance to the CLI arguments. Okay, so this is the importance of the CLI argument when you combine with the config file here. Okay, so we are still checking with the second scenario. Okay, so before running this Appium server with the config file, we will discuss some more points here. The first one is the supported config file formats. Okay, so we can able to store our config data in following kinds of files, that is JSON, YAML format, and JS, JavaScript file. Okay, and CJS, that is the common JS. So all these four formats we can able to save our config file, and all these four formats we can provide the configuration data to our Appium server. Okay, so these four formats is valid one. Okay, that is our second point here. And third point, okay, supported config file location. Okay, so that is one, we have three ways we can do it. Okay, to provide the configuration file location. Okay, the first way is configuration files can be named anything, but the following file names will be automatically discovered and located by the Appium. Okay, we can provide any name here, but these names, the following names, are the recommended one. Okay, suppose you are using the JSON format, we have to use the file name like this, so that Appium server will automatically recognize it. Okay, and these are the recommended names. Okay, that is for JSON I am using .appiumrc.json format, and for the YALM I had to use appiumrc. Okay, the same thing. Okay, suppose if you not give YALM, you can give in the YML also. The same for the JavaScript, that is the JS. Okay, so here we are using the JS and common JS here. Okay, and we can able to use appium.config.js and appium.config.cjs. And if you give appiumrc, which is considered to be JS format, means we can able to provide .js or without providing the format .js also, the Appium server will automatically consider this appiumrc file as a JSON format. Okay, this is the first way to configure the file location. Okay, the second way. Okay, the second way is further, if your project uses Node.js, you can use the store the configuration inside a Appium property in your package.json, and it will be automatically discovered here. Means, so I will explain you practically here. So I have opened this .appium file in our system, and we have a JSON file called package. Okay, so we see package, which is system created. Whenever you install this Node.js and Appium, automatically this package file will be created. Okay, and it is in JSON format. I'll open this package, which is in JSON format. You can see here it have list of drivers and plugins here. So here we need to add a property called Appium, and we need to provide the configuration file here. Okay, so this is the second way. Okay, the second way, you are providing the property called appium and the configuration file details in our package.json. Okay, that is the second way. And third way is configure the file such. Okay, so what happens, suppose I not want to follow this way 1 and way 2, I can do in other way also, that is the configure file such. Here means I'm specifying the what I'm doing, I am saving the config file in particular location, and when I'm running the appium server, I am specifying the path here. Okay, so how we can able to do it? I had to use a command called appium space --config and the path to the config file here. Okay, so I will show the example here. So in our Eclipse, okay, I have created a folder called appium-config files. Under this one, I have saved a sample JSON file for the appium config here. Okay, so when I'm running the appium server, I had to provide this path there. Okay, using flag called --config. Okay, so when I open this file, so this is a sample JSON. Okay, so this all the arguments and the corresponding values by using which the appium server will be configured. Okay, okay, now the third one here. Okay, this is the third way to provide the config file. Okay, and now we'll go to our second scenario. Okay, so as I told, run the appium server with a set of arguments using config file. Okay, so same thing, what I have used here. Okay, see, I have run this set of arguments, right, to start the appium server. Same thing I am using, instead of writing this thing in a command prompt, what I did, I have created a config file, that is the .json file, and I have provided a list of arguments here. So based upon this list of arguments, I am starting my appium server. Okay, so this is a sample JSON which I provided in our Eclipse here. So when I open this sample JSON, you can see I have provided the address, okay, allow insecure, and I provided the execute -driver and a base path and callback port, and set of capabilities also I provided a default capabilities. Okay, and deny insecure, I have provided the value here adb_cell. So set of arguments and corresponding values I have provided here. The same thing for log, say log level, log no color, log timeout, all these arguments I have used and I have provided the corresponding values here. Okay, so now I will start the appium server by using this set of arguments provided by the config file. Okay, now what I will do, I will copy the path here. First I had to provide the path. Okay, before that one I will run the command prompt and I say appium. Okay, appium, and to run this config file I had to use the argument called --config. So I had to use this argument compulsorily. Okay, when you are running the appium server with the config file. So appium space --config, and then I need to provide the path of this file. Okay, so right click, copy the path and come back to our this one and just paste it here. Okay, so do some necessary changes. So I'm providing the path here, the // I'm giving it. Okay, now I am starting my appium server with the based upon the config file here. Okay, so click on enter. So it says my appium server is started, and when you see the log, it says address. So whatever data I have given in my config file, based upon this one. So I open the config file here. So you can see, yeah, see address, the same address, the Appium server is started based upon this address here. So you can just compare here. So what are the values I have given in config file, based upon that one, based upon that arguments, my Appium server is configured and it is running here. And if you go to the logs, okay, it says base path, so forward slash, and I have used deny insecure. Okay, see, deny insecure adv underscore cell. Okay, the time zone, everything I have given here. That's based upon our config file. I can able to run the Appium server. Okay, this is how we can able to use the Appium configuration file. This is short known as Appium config file. Okay, now the fourth point, that is how we can able to use this thing in our framework. Okay, I'm just providing an idea how we can able to implement in our framework. Okay, so what you can able to is configure the list of arguments in an Excel sheet. So we can open the Excel sheet and say the argument name and the corresponding value, and it is required or not, yes or no. Okay, and create the Excel sheet with set of arguments. And when you start the second is the, when you start test execution, what we are doing, programmatically we are converting the Excel data into a config file. Okay, we can choose any format, that is a JSON, YAML or JS. Okay, format has per our requirement here. So we are providing the list of arguments in Excel sheet. Okay, and when the test execution starts, the programmatically I am reading the Excel sheet, and based upon the Excel sheet data I am creating a config file based upon our format here. And then this file we are passing to our Appium server. Okay, what I am doing here in fourth step, I am starting the Appium server programmatically and passing this config file as a value to the our Appium server. So what happened? Our Appium server is launched based upon our config file. Okay, this is the a brief idea how can you able to implement in our framework. Okay, so I hope you understand the importance of the Appium config file and what is the importance of Appium config file, and I have demonstrated with the two scenarios here. That is the without config file, just running in our Appium or running in our command prompt, and scenario 2 we are running the Appium server with the config file here. Okay, and the supported formats. Okay, and the supported formats, we have 4 format it supports. That is a JSON format, YAML, JS, JavaScript format it is, and CJS, it is a common JS. And the next one is the config file location. So we have seen how we can able to specify the file location. One is in our package.json file, we need to provide the argument there. Okay, as a Appium, and the value you need to provide, that is a way 1, and the way 2 I am providing in in way 2 I had providing in the JSON. Okay, node.json, there I am providing the Appium property under the package.json here. Okay, so that the Appium server, when you start Appium server, it automatically discovers our config file. Okay, and third one we have seen providing the path of the config file. Okay, by using the argument called --config. Okay, and we have seen how we can able to implement this config file in our framework here. Okay, if you like this video, please click on like button and subscribe to my channel. And in our coming videos, we can able to see how we can able to create this JSON file format for using the configuration of Appium. Okay, so thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.